Watching the world burn, July 10th, 2024. Let's get into it. Now, I got back with my broken neck in July of 2022, and they've been digging on this for the last 2 years. What in the hell? I thought it was going to be a dump, and it still might be a dump, but I can't believe that you can see all the equipment in there. And what's this big mound of dirt right here? Maybe somebody can explain this to me. Now I'm going to have to just make these scenery videos because I got a lot of, as you can see, I'm right next to a highway. So a lot of car noise. So I got to keep the phone close to me. Sorry, I had to bend down. So anyway, just out walking the dog. But I don't even understand this. You tell me what that is. All right, so we got bad news on the Texas front, bad news on the North Carolina front, because they're going to cheat like hell in those two states. But we did get some good news out of all places, Georgia. You know, Brian Kemp is a Democrat, and his Secretary of State is a Democrat. But I guess they were just so embarrassed because they had over 300,000 votes that disappeared. They couldn't even prove that they were votes or ballots. And I think what was Georgia decided by about 10,000 to 18,000 ballots or something like that. So this was well enough illegal votes to overturn the Georgia election. So they're actually going to solidify the election a little bit. They're going to at least have a Democrat and a Republican check the ballots as they come in each day. And I think there's going to be a third party present just to look them over and make sure they look realistic. I'm not sure if they're checking the signature or not, but that's good news right there. The next story I wanted to get into was October 7th. And you know that I've talked about that from time to time. And, you know, it was Scott Ritter and a lot of YouTubers were claiming that the Israelis were responsible for killing most of the Israelis that died. Well, guess what? The Hamarat newspaper, that's an Israeli newspaper, just came out and said that's true. That's true, that more than half of the people that died on October 7th were part of the Hannibal directive, which Israel implemented because they didn't want their soldiers taken captive, because then they would have had to bargain for them. So they ordered the IDF to kill everybody. And so they did. So, and this is an Israeli newspaper now. Don't take my word for it, okay? You can Google it if you want. And they're saying that, yeah, more than half of the people that died that day were killed by the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. Oh, man, we got a bird coming up next to a little pond right here. Still watching what's going on out there. So that's cool. Then we get into, in addition to the Israeli conflict, the Lancet, which is well, it used to be a respected journal, but they printed a lot of incorrect information. Wow, look at that, isn't that beautiful? They printed a lot of incorrect information about back when we were going through the COVID psyop that all of the intelligence agencies put everybody through. And so the Lancet was going along with whatever, you know, British intel told them to say. Probably the CIA was in on that, and Mossad, I'm sure. So, you know, can Lancet be trusted? Well, for the most part, I think they can. And they just put out a number that blew everybody away, and it actually didn't blow me away. I told you I think there's going to be about 1 million people dead in Gaza. But they said right now that they can account for 186,000 dead Palestinians, mostly women and children, so far. Now, that doesn't count the people that are underneath the rubble. Okay, and we know there's many thousands, probably double 186. So you're at least getting up, you know, near 300 and some to 500,000 mark, and that doesn't account for all the people that have died from medical conditions because Israel bombed all the hospitals, which, you know, everybody's making a big deal about the hospital that it looks like a U.S. Anti-aircraft missile hit in Ukraine, but they said it was a Russian Kinzhal missile. Although I think that's been completely refuted. All the videos and the evidence, and of course Russia came out and said no way, no how. You know, all of our Kinzhals hit the target that we wanted them to hit, and the hospital wasn't one of them. So anyway, so it's okay for us to lie about Russia hitting a hospital in Ukraine. But boy, when you talk about Israel bombing all the hospitals in Gaza, whew, I guess that's anti-Semitic, right? Maybe so. I just keep looking out there. Isn't that just fascinating? I mean, what are they doing, man? I mean, I don't know. All right, I'm sorry to keep going back to that. So that was the next story, 186 ton, and the Lancet came out and said that. So we've got, the whole Israeli scenario is blowing up. That Hamas cut, and then, by the way, I met a guy the other day, he's still believing that story about babies' heads were cut off. I have yet to see anything that shows a bunch of dead babies with their heads cut off. And there was a clip, I can't show it to you, but it was on X. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. And so, I give Elon credit. I mean, I know that, these people, but, we need to see these things. We need to know what's happening in Gaza. Because it is a genocide Joe, baby. Genocide Joe. So we'll get into some other stories. The next one was there's speculation, well, I already said Joe Biden's going to be stepping down because the donors have come out against him. And of course, the question would be then, is Kamala going to take his place? And she certainly wants that. She's chomping at the bit to become the vice president. But I want you to watch this clip on Kamala. tell me what she says right here. All right, let's watch it.
So I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past but the future.
What the hell did she just say? I mean, I don't even know, man. I mean, this woman is the biggest airhead. And if you follow Mike Wallace, I encourage you to follow him. He's saying that she pretty much prostituted herself all the way up to the VP. Now, I'm just trusting what he's saying. I have no evidence to that regard, but he's saying that, she slept with a lot of powerful people to get positions of power. She certainly did some serious damage when she was the Attorney General and in California there. I think it was just of a city. She put a lot of blacks in jail, that's for damn sure. So I don't imagine the blacks like her too much. So we'll see, man. I can't wait to see what what rabbit in the hat they pull out.
Morning. So yesterday, I ran into somebody that I haven't seen in a while. I haven't seen this guy for months. He's been here for about 5 months in the United States, 6 months, something like that. And he says, "Hey, I'm looking for work." And I said, "Well, I can't hire you, man. I'm not. I gotta hire like legitimate people or whatever." And he was like, "No, I'm legitimate now." And he's broken English, kind of bits and pieces together, and he pulls his ID and stuff out of his pocket, and he says, "I got Social Security card now, and I got worker's ID and permit for working, everything all legit, stamp, city stamping, specialized Social Security envelope." And I said, "Let's go inside real quick. I need a translator." And a couple of my guys, they speak Spanish, and I'm talking to him, and I says, "So, where are we at with time frame wise? How long did it take you to get your Social Security card and your worker's permit?" He said, "Maybe 3.5, 4 months, finished in my hand." This dude got his freaking work permit and Social Security card, came here illegally, got documented, got on the buses from Texas to Chicago, got in process here in Chicago, found an apartment building within the first week, an efficiency apartment, moved into the apartment building, and then has been working cash jobs under the table for the last 4 months until recently got his worker's permit. And now he's working for a roofing company, but they're laid off right now. They're laid off right now, and he's looking for work. And I said, I don't necessarily need anybody right now, buddy. I'm sorry, I'll have to pass. this shocks me, the fact that this guy can't even speak English. Almost not a lick of English. Very broken, can barely understand, got to have a translator around. Luckily, I speak enough Spanish to know what he's saying. And I'm like, this is absolutely crazy. 4 months, already has a driver's license, insurance. He bought like a 2012, 2011 Ford Focus. He bussed a girl up from Texas up here that lives with him that he's using for a piece of ass. She's from Colombia, where he's from. And she lives with him. It doesn't work. And he works and provides for her just so he could get laid. And then she's got her own family and stuff like that as well. And she's waiting for her husband and stuff to come up here. So this guy is using her, so she has a place to, and then she's using him, so she has a place to stay until her family gets up here. And now within 4 months, this guy's got his Social Security card. He's got his worker's identification card for working. He's got a driver's license. He's got insurance. He just bought a car, all in 4 months. And it has an efficiency apartment that he pays $500 a month for, with government assistance. That's fucked up, man. We have people literally trying to do everything that have been waiting for years that still don't have what this guy has in 4 months. That's how fucked up our government is. That's how much they care about the illegal migrants more than they care about their own people. The problem is, and this is fucked up for me to say this, some Americans have done this to themselves because they're fucking lazy and they won't get off their ass to go out and actually get the stuff done that they're trying to get done, that they need to be getting done. Like this guy came here knowing that he could lose his life, lose everything. He gets here. Now he's a worker. Within 4 months, done all his paperwork, went to all his appointments and stuff, and figured out the system and is hustling and is now legal here. Got a Social Security card, got a worker's permit. How can you be illegal and have no status? His court date isn't for like 6 years, but have a Social Security card. How does that make any sense? It's happening. It's messed up, man. It's really, really, really messed up that they would do this for people that are not even from this country. They didn't help build this country. They didn't help contribute to this country, and they just walk right in like they do and just get handed IDs, Social Security card, just get them on the payroll and stuff. Let's just do it for them. Let's get them set, but not take care of our own people that are on the streets. It's messed up.
Just getting back to the election one last time. I understand the Democrats have come out and said they want illegal immigrants to vote in the next election. 30 million of them. Why would you want that? Those aren't even American citizens, unless you're trying to steal the election. Do you understand? And it's in your face now. I mean, that Safe Voting Act that everybody's voting against, all the Democrats vote against. Like I said, there are a few good Republicans, but no good Democrats. The other interesting story probably you don't know about, it's a very low story, but there's a big fence being put up around the Federal Reserve Building in Washington, D.C. Now, I mean, they'd already done that with the Capitol, the White House, And but why on earth are they putting up a huge fence around the Federal Reserve? What do they know that we don't know? Does this mean we're a bit closer to the demise of the dollar than we knew? Could be. Anyway, the reason why I hike this next to the road. Look at that, man. Isn't that cool? I would love to hike this road right here if they would allow me to trespass on that. See what I mean, man? It's pretty loud here. Look at this the sidewalk going up here. But I wanted to get you that view. I think it's just damn amazing. And this is real close to my house. This is the thing I like, but unfortunately we've got a lot of construction, but that's going to be another ex-post that I'll read to you when I get home. As he's talking about there's a couple of ex-posts that the real estate in southern United States has come to a halt. And I've been telling you we're in a commercial real estate catastrophe, and that'll be followed by a real estate catastrophe. Expect the price, if you live in the South, price of your home is going to get cut in half at the very least. But I'll read those ex-posts when I get home. But I wanted to get you that view. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? There's the water way out there. All right. Thought I'd get you another nice view. Can you imagine the infrastructure of how much that cost? That just rolls back and forth with the water in the fields. And I'm guessing those are sunflowers. I don't know if they harvest the sunflower seeds. I thought they just baled it for hay. But I don't know. But anyway, the next clip I wanted you to see is, and I tell you what, this is why I'm glad I live in Florida. It's a sheriff. I'll let him put it in his own words, but I did want to give you a story out of Redacted. And they said that a lot of these illegal immigrants, they're looking around for Biden signs because they figure that anybody who's got a Biden sign in their yard probably doesn't have a gun. So as you watch this clip, and they got a Trump sign in the yard, and you're an illegal immigrant from Venezuela, one of the cartel gangs that the Democrats brought you across, go rob a Democrat, man. Go rob a Democrat. They want you here. Sorry, we don't want you here. I'm more of an independent, but I don't agree with what the Democrats have done, bringing 30 million people across our border, endangering all of us. Let's watch that clip.
As to the person, we don't know which homeowner shot at him. I guess they think that they did something wrong, which they did not. If somebody's breaking in your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually. So whoever that was, you're not in trouble. Come see us. We have a gun safety class we put on every other Saturday. And if you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save the taxpayers money.
Interesting. So I never thought I'd see Chinese soldiers in Belarus in my lifetime. But anyway, I thought you'd enjoy that.
Открытым звучит гимн Китайской Народной Республики.
Damn, I was trying to get it on the video. He had a fish in his mouth. There's the bird again. Look at him. They're still going at it over there. It's the most I've seen construction work. A lot of times, that's why I thought I could hike up in there. A lot of times there's nobody there. But man, they're going at it today. So let's finish up today's video. Poor little guy, we got caught out in a big storm. he was soaked to death, but we've had our shower, and I'm ready to continue with the video. I want to talk about Ukraine for just 1 minute before we get into the last of the expos. You know, I don't know if you remember back, you know, when Putin went in February of 2022, he only went in, I think, with 90,000 troops. And I think his intel was bad. Because, you know, if you believe the West, and this is why I'm talking about this, because at the NATO conference, Biden came out today and he goes, Putin was going to take Kiev, and, you know, we stopped him, Ukraine stopped him, you know, and he never had any intention whatsoever of taking Kiev. He was just trying to get a peace deal that says that Ukraine had to be neutral. But I just want to give you the shocking developments of what happened back then. Okay, so they marched across, and the Ukrainians were shocked. I don't think, you know, even though the Ukrainians, we're going to get into this in just 1 minute, they were armed to the teeth, man. and they had an army that could just annihilate the Russians at that time, but they just were going like, holy shit, we didn't think they'd actually cross the border, you know, and so they were kind of in shock for about the first maybe couple 2-3 weeks before they could say, you know what, we got everything we need to just wipe these Russians out, man. So anyway, so Russia went in. They got the initial response. They never had enough troops to take Kiev, even though what. And this is why I'm pissed off about the NATO summit and what's coming out there. It's just all bull crap. And anyway, so the Ukrainians, once they hit the Russians, Putin, man, that was a rude awakening for the Russians. I mean, they knew that NATO had been arming the Ukrainians since 2014. They just did not know that. I mean, it was a good damn thing that the Russians went in there, because this was a mighty army made up Azov battalions, Nazis, and they were poised to go right through the Donbass region and just wipe out all the Russian-speaking people there, and commit, more or less, I want to call it a genocide, but a mass, overrun of that region. And so when Putin went in, I mean, that was just a huge event. So, of course, the Russians pulled back because they're like, holy shit, we had no idea that we were running into the teeth of the tiger. I mean, and so then if you recall, the Ukrainians marched right across and the West was going, yeah, the Ukrainians are killing the Russians. And they did. They killed a bunch of them, but when the Russians pulled back across that river, I can't remember what it was, the one that got the dam blown up. And so once they got back there, they were setting up their defenses, and the Ukrainians, the battle pretty much stalled there. Now, understand, even though the Ukrainian army had about 300,000 troops and the Russians were only at 90,000, the Russians inflicted a hell of a lot of damage on the Ukrainians. And that's why they had to halt that offensive across there, because they were suffering tremendous casualties. And then Putin, he's like, holy moly, I had no idea that we had this incredible army sitting right on our border that the NATO has built up. I'm sure he had intel, that told him kind of what was going on. Anyway, and then the people in the Donbass, because Putin was telling them, he says, look, we just came across, we're just trying to get a peace treaty, and then you're going to go right back to Ukraine. And they're like, oh, hell no. They've been bombing the shit out of us since 2014. If you're not here as liberators or to help us out, we don't want anything to do with you. And so Putin faced a decision. He says, well, I guess we're going to have to go all in. And that's when the mobilization started, and that's when everything took place, and that's how the war came about. And so why am I telling you all this? Well, I wanted to talk about what just happened with Viktor Orban. And I put up my last video. Go back and watch it. Viktor Orban went to Ukraine, he went to Russia, then he went to China, and he was trying to get some sort of peace deal. Well, guess what they're doing in Washington, D.C. right now? Because right now, Orban is what do you want to call him? The president of the European Council, I believe that's what it's called. Okay? They're going to remove him, it looks like, within the next 2 or 3 weeks, because they don't want peace. The freaking warmongering Democrats want war. War. That's what Democrats are. Democrats are satanic, pedophile, warmongering idiots who are going to drive us to the global thermonuclear war. But anyway, so Orban was trying to get a peace deal, and it looks like they're going to put the whole kibosh on that. And now they're talking about setting up a no-fly zone with Poland protecting it, and then sending F-16s. I don't even know how that's going to work, because the Russians are just going to destroy them. But anyway, I guess we'll see what happens. So I just wanted to talk about the Ukraine war. But, this is what's happened. And so now, it's a totally different war at this point. Russia's up to, good Lord, I want to say almost damn near 1 million troops instead of 90,000. Now, they're not all committed to Ukraine. But, there's about 300,000, maybe 400,000 fighting in Ukraine. And then they just came down from the Kherson region, and I've been covering all that. So that's it. I just wanted to cover the Ukraine war for just 1 minute, but I can't believe that just because Orban wants peace, that the president of Hungary, that they're going to just kick him out as the leader of the European Council just for talking. All he did was talk to Putin and talk to Xi and talk to Zelensky. And anyway, it's just briefly back to the election. I just found this X post. Low IQ Jennifer McClellan, Democrat from Virginia, absurdly claims that requiring that only American citizens vote in the elections in the 2020 version is a Jim Crow poll tax. So you can see how the Democrats want all the illegal aliens, all 30 million of them, to vote in the next election. And now they're they're comparing it to Jim Crow and all kinds of stuff. These people are here illegally, man. They don't even have U.S. citizenship. They haven't even studied the U.S. Constitution. And yet the Democrats want them to vote. Do you see why I don't like Democrats? I mean, I'm just saying. This is Robbie Hendricks, and this was getting back to earlier in the video. I was talking about the construction and how it's calming down, how real estate prices are going to soar, and how commercial real estate. I don't know who this guy is. It says construction is largely impossible right now between high interest rates, material costs, and labor costs. And that exasperates the supply issue in the housing market. The gears have stopped turning, and that's what I was telling you. This is the Kobesky, K-O-B-E-I-S-S-I letter. And boy, I tell you, this is one great channel. I got turned on to it. I don't know who it was on YouTube, and I just follow him. And so I was talking about this earlier in the video, but I'll just read you the whole X post. What's happening here? The construction industry saw 4,613 layoff announcements in June, the most since 2008 financial crisis. The jump was even higher than the 4,200 job cut announcements in the 2020 pandemic. Layoff announcements surged by 20% year over year last month, the largest increase since November of 2023. Meanwhile, 1,858 million Americans are now receiving jobless benefits, the most since 2021. The U.S. labor market is weaker than it seems. And then, of course, he's always got his charts. And I won't even show it to you because I look at it and I go, I don't even know what this means, although he's circled a big thing there. But just go to his channel and you can go look at it yourself. Let's just keep going. This is more on the Kobesky letter. Breaking. There are now a record 299,000 new homes for sale in the southern United States, according to Reventure. This is even higher than in 2006, a year before the housing market crash began. The number of new homes for sale in the South, and I'm not sure if this is true of Florida, maybe portions of Florida, but it doesn't seem to be true where I am, has nearly doubled in just 4 years. Meanwhile, new home sales have officially dropped below pre-pandemic levels for the first time. It would take 9 months current new inventory to sell if it sold at the current pace without new inventory coming to the market. Second longest duration since 2009. Is the housing run coming to an end? Well, yeah, most certainly it is. I mean, I don't even know why. I guess he just has to kind of keep his credibility. I mean, you know me. I have no credibility. And then, of course, he's got his chart. So once again, you got to go to his channel and look at what he has to say. This is Elon Musk. True. The White House has formally announced that Biden will veto the Republican bill that seeks to prevent non-citizens from voting. Do you see how in your face this is? We are going to have 30 million illegal immigrants voting in the next election. Now, I just want you to put these numbers in. What is it? Trump got, 70-some million votes in the last election, or ballots. Well, actually, Trump got votes. Biden got 81 million ballots.
If you would have told me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that I would be in the middle of a political movement, I would have said, put down Hunter's crack pipe. Right now,
I can't afford the groceries, I can't afford your gas. It's Bidenflation across the nation, 81 million votes my ass. Hey, 81 million votes my ass.
Well, when you add 30 more million to that, I mean, how in the hell is Trump going to win North Carolina, which has got a Democrat governor and a Democrat Secretary of State, or Democrat, the person that takes care of the elections? I mean, they're going to have every illegal alien put a ballot in North Carolina. We got 1.4 million, I keep saying this over and over again, down in Texas that are going to be casting ballots because Greg Abbott is a Democrat. I think we got two that, most Republicans think, oh, these states are going to go red. They're going blue, man. They're going blue unless we can correct these voter rolls. This was interesting, just a kind of off chart. Bye-bye, John Deere, cat turd. Revealed John Deere sponsoring sickening DEI wokeness as they fire American workers and move factories to Mexico. So yeah, you gonna buy a John Deere? I don't have to. I got a yard crew. Maybe they own John Deere. I don't know. The White House has formally announced that Biden will veto the Republican bill that seeks to prevent non-citizens from voting. What's your reaction? Once again, Democrats, in your face. Illegal aliens are voting in the next election. I'm just trying to prove it all to you, man. How many things do I have to do to prove it to you that we are screwed, man? They've imported 30 million votes. Oh, man. This was dozens of dead children after Israel targeted a school housing displaced people in the Khan Yaris, Gaza. Children are lying dead everywhere, and it says graphic content. I can't show that to you, but, if you want to go up on X, you can find it. There's actually a video that I'm going to post separately of a bunch of kid amputees, and that'll just be on X and Rumble. Because, and I don't even know why YouTube considers that graphic content, because there's no blood in the video. It just shows the kids with their amputated limbs, which some of them have healed for the most part, but they're all looking for prosthetic limbs. So if you want to donate some prosthetic limbs to Gaza, I would highly encourage that. So this was in wokeness. So Joe Rogan explains the border crisis. Open the border to the third world. Give them aid and free housing. Oppose racist voter ID laws. Rig it so that they're able to vote. Permanent one-party rule. You know what? Joe Rogan's getting on board with the right here, isn't he? I mean, holy moly. Let's just keep going. Unexpected danger. Saudi Arabia. This was a big story, man. This is a big story. And it's been reported on from people on YouTube, but it's not getting covered by the mainstream media as they cover just a NATO conference. But this was huge. Saudi Arabia threatens G7 to dump European bonds in retaliation for Russian asset confiscation. So if the Europe and the United States want to confiscate the Russian assets, they're going to dump the bonds. Now, I don't know what effect that might have. It could collapse the entire banking system. You never know. I mean, we're just one little freaking trigger away from the entire banking system collapsing. So let's just read a little more here. G7 countries received a warning from Saudi Arabia about possible disposal of European securities in the event of confiscation of frozen Russian assets. Riyadh did not specify which country's securities might be affected, but according to the sources, France is most at risk. Wouldn't that be nice? Because if you didn't know, Macron is now trying to put Le Pen in jail, just like Biden's trying to put Trump in jail. We got the pattern all over the liberal globalist West, where they all want to put their opponents. And of course, down in Brazil, what is it, Luna? He's trying to put Bolsonaro in jail. So yeah, it's a pattern all around the world. Your nationalists, your right-wing nationalists, go to jail while the left seems to manage because they got all the money. Saudi Arabia's finance ministry has expressed its opposition to the idea that G7 countries, with one source calling it a veiled threat. The Saudis specifically mentioned debts issued by the French Treasury. Although Saudi Arabia does not hold enough European bonds to crash the market, this is an opinion of the person that wrote this, European bonds, the EU fears a domino effect. If other countries follow Riyadh, it will cause a large-scale crisis in Europe, which is already suffering losses from the imposition of sanctions against Russia. And of course, now that they're going to spend a ton of money, because coming out of the NATO conference, they're going to start beefing up their militaries. You know, I imagine that the European people are just going to suffer greatly. They might get a better military, because what is it? Britain only has 70,000 troops. But the people can't afford that. This will be the last last thing here. In World War II, German soldiers would look for Americans to surrender to because they knew that we would treat them humanely, unlike Russians or French. Today, and this is from Robert F. Kennedy Jr., today, American-led units in Ukraine commit summary executions of captured Russian prisoners. Now, he didn't put up a video on this, or I don't know where this claim is coming from, but Robert F. Kennedy has his own sources. And I like Robert F. Kennedy, and I think he's a good dude. I tell you what, I wouldn't want to see him run against Trump, because I think he would win for the Democrats. Although they don't want him in there because he's kind of an honest dude. He's got a lot of good ideas. A lot of his stuff I don't agree with, especially his stance on Gaza. He's for the genocide that's taking place in Gaza. But anyway, that's a war crime. There shouldn't be an American-led units in Ukraine in the first place. It's time to make peace in Ukraine and bring those hundreds of billions of dollars home. So you see why I like Kennedy? I mean, he's got some good ideas, man. And I tell you what, if he would just change his stance on Gaza, I think he'd beat Trump's hands down. And if they put him in place of Biden, the Democrats would win. The problem is, just like his grandfather, what would John F. Kennedy be to him? Because John F. Kennedy would be his grandfather. Would they assassinate him because he wouldn't follow along with the deep state? Maybe so, maybe not. But he knows his way around, and he certainly studied everything that took place during his father's assassination. And I bet he's going to he's going to declassify everything that happened to his grandfather back in 1963 when he was assassinated, which would embarrass the CIA, I'm sure. So who knows? I tell you what, the world is a crazy place. Peace out. Stay free.